I'm so glad to know this man. I knew him years ago when we both knew this mutual friend, and then we lost touch, and then our paths crossed again when we realized that we had Angela Rockwood, that we both loved and adored so much as a dear friend. And everyone here knows Angela. To me, this man is the epitome of a new independent filmmaker, a director, a producer who tackles subjects and stories that feed him. He's done film like Cages, Blind Malice, Return to Autism, Imperfect Sky, I May Regret. He identifies as a screenwriter, cinematographer, director, editor. Mr. Graham Streeter, there he is. Where are we? Da, da, da. I'm gonna find him here. Da, 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 da. There we go. Oh, there he is. Hello.
Hello there. Hi. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and we are loving that you're here today.
It is a pleasure to be here.
Yes, yes. Well, I have, as I mentioned, we're going to first start off with a little interview, and then I'm going to throw it over to Graham, and we're gonna have a wonderful class today. Well, would you say it's a mock audition, or would you say it's an audition?
You know what? Everything's a possibility for an audition, so treat it like an audition for sure. But this is kind of just an exercise mock audition at the same time. But I'm just looking at the group, and I think I know, I've seen a few of you before from things that I've followed you guys on, but for the most part, I'm really kind of re-meeting everybody for the first time again. So this is a great opportunity for me to meet everybody.
I love it. I love it. So I want to know, because you do so many things. You identify as a screenwriter, cinematographer, director, editor. You do it all. What is your favorite? Or do you have one?
You know, I don't have a favorite. Oh, I would say probably directing in the moment on set is probably the peak of what I do, because it feels like, you know, it's like a rocket launch. Everything has built up to that time, all the planning, all the details are kind of all making sense, and the magic, the big, you know, first piece of magic really all happens on set. And so, but it's also rewarding because it's set, and the moment of filming isn't something that just happens by itself. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of hard work for everybody to come together to make a movie. So it feels very, very rewarding. And that is my favorite process. But I do love all aspects of film, because I don't know about you guys, but I tend to get bored easy. And so, you know, when you wear a different hat, you could change it up every once in a while. You feel re-stimulated. You feel like you're doing new things, not the same old every day. So filmmaking is many, many months of writing, but then when you're finally just so tired of it, you can move on to pre-planning, and then you do production, and you can do the directing, and then you can do, so you get to just change it up. And that probably is one of the facets of filmmaking. As an all-encompassing filmmaker, my favorite part is that I can change it up over and over again.
Right. And what shows through your work is the love that you have for it. And it's a blessing to us. I know that you said that you get fed from it, so to say, but it feeds us because it feeds you. It's that circle motion.
Yeah.
Did you go to directing school?
No, I didn't. I went to business school because all my life I knew I wanted to be an artist of some sort. And so the motivation to be an artist was already in me. So I felt like, you know, that just means if you love what you do, you just keep learning and learning and learning way past school. And like I just bought another book on photography just this week. I mean, I'm constantly buying textbooks and learning and learning and learning. I haven't bought a textbook since I was in the middle of college for business, but I went to business school to balance myself out because I know I hate business. So
That's interesting that you hate it, but you did it anyway.
I needed to balance myself out because otherwise I'd just be on one side and I'd be this artist, but wouldn't know how to survive. So it's all about balance for me.
Right. Now with that business school, you created Imperative Pictures. What made you choose that name?
Uh, it was a couple of things, but on a thematic level, Imperative Pictures is all about doing stories, but doing stories that matter, that have what we call the imperative element. So films that have reason to exist, that have that are a catalyst for conversation about topics, that let people debate, that people become smarter, a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more wiser about when the film is over with, that they're educational. That imperative is applied to those elements of the film. And the imperatives themselves are things that really truly matter in our life. Like you would say for this crowd, accessibility, things like that they matter. People need to know more about them. They need to be more understanding of the needs of different people, how to connect on that level, how to tell stories that resonate and make an audience a smarter person when they're done. And at the same time, it's still a movie. It's still entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to be something that's fun. It's not a lecture. It's a story, but the story sucks you in.
Yeah.
The imperative element sucks you in, and then you realize, I'm a smarter person now. I'm glad I saw that story.
Right. Now, yeah. Well, one thing about the stories that you have, of course, you need actors. When actors come to you, and I know we're going to be dealing with this today, how do you decide on an actor?
I in some ways I hate the word actor, because an actor is someone who acts something out, that and it works for, like, a good actor is someone who can make an impression in theater to the very back row. That's someone who has to try to be extra loud, extra big, extra strong, extra clear, because it has to go all the way to the back of a theater and still register and tell a story. But a cinema experience, you're in the front row. There's nothing between you and the actor, so they don't have to work hard. And if they were to work that hard and act, it would just be, whoa, too much for anyone. But because we're so close and so intimate in film and television's a little further away, but film is really close, that all they have to do is be as human as possible. So it isn't about acting, it's about believing in your head so much that what this situation is so real to you that you just live it. Just live it. And it sounds like the easiest thing in the world to do, and is probably the hardest thing to do, because everyone can act something, but how do you let go of the acting and just be present in a moment? And that takes sometimes a lot of training, or sometimes it doesn't take any training at all. It just takes the ability to let go of what other people think of you and just be in the moment, just be authentic. And that's what I look for. I look for someone who can be authentic.
I love that. I love it. That feeds me just to hear it, to be, because sometimes we're like that in life. Sometimes we put on a certain face, but I'm most happiest when I'm just being.
Right. Yeah. And I think the actor is strongest when they're just being. I mean, I could ask any of you in the class here, like, oh, you know, you need to be a 90-year-old British person. You know, it's like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to try to, and to be believable, you know? But if I just said, I just need you to be you, the character is you. So if you trust that the casting director called you and said, we want you to come and do this role. We don't want a 90-year-old British person to do this. We want you. So bring yourself to the table. Let everything go. Don't try to be anything you aren't. Just be authentic and believe in the situation, you know?
What's your biggest joy in life?
My biggest joy in life is, it's not even film. It's just about friends and family. And it's especially during COVID to find that group of people that you love and that you trust and you feel loved in return. And it's just about the human connection that you have. And it should apply to film as well. You should have that experience when you meet a character, but those are people that you love and you trust and you love, and their family and friends, because they're not strangers, right? If they're strangers, you don't connect with them. And in film, you have to connect with people as well. So you have to be as honest as a best friend would be, as you might be with your mom or your dad or your brother or sister. It's that kind of relationship, that kind of really who you are, that makes you connect with a person. And it's the same thing in when you're doing a character, or when you're not doing a character, when you're doing an audition, to just treat them like you're your best friend, your mom or dad, and just relax and enjoy that person and be as honest as possible.
I mean, you've done 8, 9, I mean, a huge amount of projects that are, to me, is very coming from the heart. Your last film, I May Regret. How did that come about? Why did you choose that?
You know, it's a pretty heavy subject because it deals with, I came about dealing with these subjects because I don't know a lot about them. So I'm a curious person. I always look for, I'll go on the internet or a newspaper and read an article that think, what is this about? You know, you're curious. And then you get into a little rabbit hole of an idea or a subject matter that you don't know anything about. And when I realized I've stepped into an area or a topic that I don't know anything about, that's a problem to me, because I should know about these things. Everyone should learn about everything. So if you don't know about it, it's worth discovering more. And so if I go even deeper and I still don't know anything about it, then I think, well, there should be a movie about this, and we should explore this topic in a narrative format, because I don't know anything about it. I don't know about you, and chances are a lot of people do know about it, but I didn't know about it. And it inspires me to go deeper and try to use that issue in a narrative. So when I was studying, I was researching and looking for different things. I came across dementia, which is usually associated with Alzheimer's disease. And Alzheimer's is one of those things that we don't know a lot about. You know, there's a lot of research, but it seems to be very slow. It's something that could affect any of us in our later years of life. And there's even early onset dementia, and I met a man his name is also Graham, from England. He's 32 years old and he has early onset dementia. His father, his uncle, his brother, and his brother have all died from it around 38 years old. It's really early onset. And Graham himself doesn't have it yet, but he has the genetic code for it, so he will get it. It was fascinating and so I just kind of went off into this whole research about dementia and tried to learn more and more about what it was. And then the things that circle dementia. So the film deals with deals with more mature onset dementia, but about hallucinations that happen. Not necessarily, a lot of people think about, oh, dementia is Alzheimer's is where you forget things, but it's not. Alzheimer's is about forgetting things, but it also is about what few things you do remember, your brain kind of puts those together. It's like if your favorite song was a country western song and a polka, or and a church hymn, and you remember those all your life. You remember them so much that you know the words to them inside and out. You know the book that it was written in. You know so much about these songs, and they go way, way back in your childhood. Those memories are deep, deep, deep in the brain, and they're wired so many different ways that as you lose your memory, those songs stay. But it might be such that those three songs merge together into one song. They might confuse because you only have a couple things to work with now, and they mash up, and you get a mashup of a country song, a biblical song, and it's confusing because you know all three songs, but your brain's putting them together into one song, and now it's confusing, and it's like a hallucination almost. And that's what this film deals with. It deals with memory mashup. And in the case of dementia, sometimes the most amazing moments in your life, like your wedding day or a day when you win an Oscar or something like that, or the most horrific day, like a car crash, or if you're in the war, people die around you. Those are the things that in the end of life, when you have dementia, those memories are so wired into the head that they are the only things you remember at the end. So someone might be very happy with dementia, or they might be very agitated and very worrisome with dementia. And sometimes if you have both, you might be happy and anxiety and anxious at the same time. They're mashing up, and it becomes very confusing. So all those kind of things were really fascinating. So the story I wanted to tell was about the mashup component that happens when this disease kind of takes place. And then the challenge was, let's tell the story from that person's perspective. Let's be in that person's head, so we get a firsthand experience of what that situation was like. So
wow. I didn't know all of this, and your explanation of it was so crystal clear. And also, I find it fascinating and wonderful how you live your life in the moment. If you're not sure, or if something's new to you, you want to explore it. Even it goes back to wanting to learn about business. At first you didn't like it, and you still might not necessarily like it, but you found stuff about it that just enhanced you as a person.
sure, yeah.
A question in the connection to the title, I May Regret. Do you, Graham, have any regrets in your life, from your life?
We all have little regrets maybe, but no big regrets. I think I always try to resolve things so they don't wear heavy on me.
Right.
And point in story in I May Regret, the story is about a woman named May. But it also the title reads, I May Regret, but I may regret. I mean, it has a multiple layers of, depending on how you read that line. But the regret that she has in the story is something that is a very, very powerful moment in her life that she hides and puts away. And then when she's very, very old, it's there. And it will haunt her, and it will confuse her, and she can't get rid of it. And it's something that she regretted, and you don't get, those are things that stay with you your whole life. And that's why I've chosen, if possible, always try to resolve regrets so that they don't come back to haunt you later on in life. Because there's nothing better than being freed from that, and being honest, and being not being weighted down from those regrets that you might have about something. So Yeah, everyone's different, but I think through my life, I have just done that
Yeah.
by nature, tried to always resolve things so that everyone is always in good blood. There's always leave things on a positive note.
Well, I know that you have done features like I May Regret and Cages, but you've also done feature documentaries too, like Return to Autism. Do you prefer one over the other, or is that still your journey?
I do like documentaries. They're a good exercise because they treat their approach is so different. When you do, it's good for me because I tend to be the kind of person that always wants to plan. I want everything just right. I'm a neat freak. I'm a controller. I don't want any curveballs at the last minute or surprises. I want the day to run smooth, and I want to feel like we're in control. And that's fine and it works, but there's always things that come up and you have to learn to be flexible. And documentary work is like a runaway train. There's no real way to plan for most of the stuff, but you can have like, okay, I'm going to do a story about a hot dog eating contest and whoever wins the contest. So already my head's saying, okay, I need to take pictures of them preparing the hot dogs. I need to see the buns. I want the close-ups of all the stuff. I want to see ketchup or mustard or how the plates are. I want to talk to each person about why they want to do this thing. What is it at the end? If they win, what does it mean? What do they get at the end? How long is the contest? Is there a bell at the end? Is there a ribbon cutting? Is there a buzzer? I want to be able to catch that moment. So you can plan and you can do all that stuff.
Right.
But still, it's real time. And so you've got to be you've just got to be curious and looking and discovering as the story happens too. You can't really say, oh, cut, let's do this again. Can you eat those last 20 dogs one more time?
That might give you another outcome too.
So you have to be really, really flexible and live in the moment when you're doing documentary work. And you don't know, you may say, you meet one of the guys who said, I've done this contest before. I can eat these in a minute. Follow me because I'm going to win this thing. And you just think, oh, this is the guy you follow. If you have like 3 people and give everyone equal camera time when you're going back and forth, you might miss the guy who you really want to be the star at the story. But as you do that, someone completely out of your radar might be the one who wins. And then you didn't get any pictures of them because you were so fixated on the people you thought were going to win. You just don't know how it's going to the outcome. Yeah. And you have to kind of like, even though this guy you think is going to win, you got to turn around and say, who else is doing well here, and assess the moment and evaluate, am I missing something? Is there something happening around me that I'm not aware of that I need to change the focus and change gears? And maybe he's there, but I need this girl here. It looks like she's plowing down hot dogs. I don't know. And then you think she's going to win. And then she throws up at the last minute and she can't get the last dog. And then you have to go back to the other guy again. So, you don't know how things are going to unfold. And that makes it exciting, but it also makes you a good filmmaker at the end, because as planned as a day can be, you're always going to have those things that are happening around you that you need to ask yourself, am I missing something here? Right. Am I looking at the whole thing that's happening? Is there something more I can say, or something I should cover just in case, as you're telling a narrative or a feature? But they're definitely different animals.
I could keep on talking to you and learning from you all day. I know we have a class to audition class to jump into, but I have one more question before we jump into that. And it's a question that I got every time I went to my acting class with Corey Allen, or being class, so to say. And the question is, what do you want the most at this moment in your life?
I think at this moment in my life, what I want most is to do some work in film that reflects the feelings and the emotions that we've been going through for the last couple of years with the pandemic, to kind of to tell a story in the lens of that, to capitalize a little bit and to bond people in this who watch the story through the experience that we've all shared together. Not necessarily dwell on a pandemic, but some of the emotions that we all universally felt during this time, to take it and make it something that bonds us together, that connects us all in story. I mean, we were all kind of isolated, and we all had our worries, we all had our questions about where we were going. And that was something that really was unifying worldwide, and it is powerful. And I don't want to lose that connection. I want to somehow bring it back into a narrative that we can all watch the story and say, yeah, I feel it. I know I was there. I wasn't in this household, in this story, but I was alive, and I know all the feelings that they're having. I had to, and that makes me human.
Ruth, honey, this lovely young lady is May. She's your new caregiver.
Oh, I see.
Ruth Warner? Yes, this is her.
She mentioned she had a package for me.
Assets?
Yeah.
Something set aside for a project?
She's been giving a lot of stuff away lately.
We know two things. She's nuts. She's got a fucking stash somewhere.
Oh, you mean rich old woman with her alleged millions? Rambling on for years about some fortune?
You're a fraud. Don't listen to her. You stay away.
Don't you think it's odd what Truman is doing?
What do you mean?
He's trying to get her to sign legal documents.
He's her attorney.
But she has dementia.
Groggy and confused is good.
Just give her this. I mean, it's not gonna knock her out, but pretty damn close.
If we find it, split it.
No, don't touch me! Well, I don't give a shit what time it is. You need to go.
Hey, calm down!
Where's the goddamn money?
I'm not who you think I am.
Damn!
You know, I'm gonna figure out who you are.
Stay away!
You really don't know what the fuck's going on here, do you?
Karma will bite you in the end. You can't hide from karma.